If you show me a random apartment listing on Zillow, I can probably describe what it looks like before I even click on it. Grayish walls, beige sofa, and the same boring boucle chair that everybody bought on Amazon. If your home looks like this, then congratulations, you live in the same house as 4 million other people. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. If you don't know, my name is Cooper. And of course, today we're going to be talking about why all homes are starting to look the same. Let's start with the villain of the entire modern boring story, the algorithm. You save one apartment photo that's like beige sofa, beige rug, beige couch, and one sad fig tree in the corner. And then TikTok just goes, oh, you like that? And only shows you that room from then on. You see that room so often that your brain actually stops recognizing it as a style choice and actually starts recognizing it as just what a normal adult home looks like. You aren't choosing it, you're just copying what you think a grown-up home is supposed to look like. And you guys need to remember here that platforms are not going to promote things that are good. They promote what's familiar and easy to process within half a second. High contrast, no clutter, a color palette with the personality of plain oatmeal. I mean, come on. It's very easy for your brain to process that if you're like half dead on a toilet at 1 in the morning. Like, that's going to look great to you. So basically what's happening here is we're all starting to design for the scroll. Couches pushed up against the wall for that big wide shot. Art hung too high so you don't accidentally crop it out. Coffee tables with 3 items on them, styled in a perfect triangle because that's how somebody on TikTok told you to do it. And yes, there is some design that goes into it, but that's what stylists do. That's not what designers do. Because if you're doing that, you're not designing a home. All you're doing is building a set for a 6-second video. Now let's talk about the convenience industrial complex. Because it's not just the algorithm that's doing this, okay? The algorithm goes hand in hand with a little something called overconsumption. Their goal is to get you with that ships in 2 days or complete the look mentality. You go onto any big box website and they don't teach you how to design. They sell you a full body cosplay. You'll go to the minimalist collection of whatever brand you're shopping at. The coastal collection or like the Japandi starter pack. No matter what it is, you're going to be spending thousands and thousands of dollars on furniture that is not personal to you in the slightest. Because the side effects of doing this are pretty bad. Your home will have zero personality and the creeping suspicion that you kind of look like you live in an Airbnb. These companies really love sameness because it is a business model that is very scalable. What this means is that if they design one sofa that works in every single beige box room from Phoenix to Philadelphia, they don't have to think about your weird window, your radiator, your cat, or your actual life in general. They just push the same 5 furniture pieces in thousands of different photographs. So when you're standing in a warehouse store under a bunch of fluorescent lighting, trying to pick a sofa, and your choices are beige blob or beige blob with a chaise lounge, of course you're going to pick beige because every single thing already in the store is going to be beige. So your eye goes, yep, that must be right. The next problem that we face here is that you guys aren't designing for you anymore. You're designing for your landlord, you're designing for the internet, or you're designing for some hypothetical furniture buyer that you've never even met. I call this mindset the resale brain mindset because what it says is, oh, I can't do color. What if I move? I can't buy that weird vintage cabinet. What if somebody hates it when I sell it? I can't hang anything on the walls. What if the landlord sees it and just spontaneously combusts? Like, guys, your landlord is not living there. You are. Your furniture buyer is not living there. You are. So why is this imaginary man on Zillow having more say in your living room than you actually do? That just doesn't seem right. And I get it. I live in a rental. They're kind of annoying when you have to deal with getting things approved. Obviously, I'm right in front of a yellow accent wall, which I absolutely cannot stand and needs to be painted over as soon as possible. And I am just waiting for the day. So I get it, guys. You don't want to dump 20 grand into crown molding for a place that you're going to leave in 2 years. But somewhere along the way, we went from I won't move walls to I won't buy a lamp that's not white. And that's how we ended up all having homes and apartments that looks like staging photos. The same dining set, the same bar stools, and the same live, laugh, love Ray Dunn art on the walls. If your apartment looks like it's ready for an open house at all times, you're probably not actually living there. Another big reason why everything looks the same is because we are buying into aesthetics instead of building them ourselves. Design used to be slow. You'd travel around, you'd collect things as you go, you'd take hand-me-downs, repaint them, swap, trade, or repair them. Your style was basically a collage of your life for the past 10 years. And I'm not necessarily saying that that is 100% the way we should be designing our homes, but I think we need to go in that direction a little bit further. Because now style is a kit. You get served eclectic minimalist starter pack, and it's like a checkerboard rug, wavy mirror, mushroom lamp, blob shelf, and you buy all 4, and congratulations, you're now quirky, but somehow at the same time exactly the same as 1,000 other people. When everything aesthetic is just a list of purchasable items, we stop asking, what do I actually love? And instead, we start telling ourselves, what objects do I need to buy to signal that I am that kind of person? I might get a little bit of trouble for this, but I did want to talk about this a little bit because it has been on my mind a lot. And that has been the monthly favorites trend that's kind of going around with a bunch of different influencers. And it is just so bad. Like, all power to them. Love that for them. Obviously, it's great to have your favorite products, but it's just a huge marketing ploy. And it's so obvious. Don't take these things as genuine because 90% of the time they're being paid thousands and thousands of dollars for these brand deals that are actually influencing you into getting things you don't need. So just be mindful of that trend, guys, because it's pretty bad. And that's why you see, super young people owning like outrageously expensive furniture is because that furniture has been commodified and is now seen as a form of social capital in our society. We look at them and say, oh my gosh, they have their life together if they have that console table from IKEA. They have their life together if they have that soap from Aesop. Like, no. All you've done is curate an image of taste instead of actually having any. And here's where it starts to get a little bit dicey. A lot of the sameness that goes on is actually about class performance. If we go back to the early 90s and the early 2000s, expensive basically meant heavy furniture. Tuscan everything, cherry wood, giant leather sofas that you could land a plane on. Now the aspirational look is, oh, I live in an antique boutique hotel in Copenhagen, and I only drink still water out of a carafe that looks like a modern sculpture. So people aren't chasing beige because they actually like beige, you guys. They're choosing beige because it looks safe, it looks grown up, and it looks rich. We all know that living room that's all off-white, one sculpture on a plinth in the corner, and nothing else. That is basically like a LinkedIn profile pic in room form. It says, oh my gosh, please think I'm tasteful. Please think I earn 6 figures. Please don't assume that I still eat cereal for dinner because I spent all my money on a piece of furniture. Like, guys, why do you think I get furniture so slowly? It's because I do not have a bunch of money laying around. You only see my life online, but no, like anybody else, I am a real person. I pay rent, I pay my bills, licensing fees for my business. That is where a lot of money goes. And so it kind of makes me assume that a lot of these people must be in severe credit card debt and making these horrible financial decisions just because they want to appear a certain way. But here's the gag. Right? When everybody chases the same signals of good taste, those signals stop meaning anything at all. Like, if every apartment has the same boucle chair, the chair isn't special anymore and is basically the new version of like a fake fiddly fig. True taste is about fit, about how something works in your space, with your life, not whether it photographs like a fancy catalog. Another huge reason why every home looks the same is because nobody teaches visual literacy anymore. Like, we're all expected to make these $1,000 design decisions, but nobody actually ever explained why they work. So instead of understanding proportion, scale, undertones, sight lines, we just copy whatever photo got the most saves on Pinterest. And that's why you see all the same mistakes over and over and over again. Whether it be a tiny rug that's just floating under a coffee table, artwork hung 6 inches below the ceiling, micro-sized sofas shoved in a giant room. Like, that's just not gonna work. And listen, you guys, these are not moral failures. It's just the fact that nobody ever sat down and showed you side-by-side examples and said, hey, when your rug goes under all the front legs of your furniture, the room will feel grounded. And when it's the size of a postage stamp, the room feels like a waiting area in a mall kiosk. When you don't know why something works, copying becomes the only tool in your kit. And when everyone is copying from the same 12 photos, all you get is clone houses. But all you're being fed is these absolute rules. Never mix warm and cool tones. Always pick neutrals for big pieces. You need a pop of black or a pop of red in every room. If it doesn't spark joy, throw it out. Like, come on. None of those are inherently true. But if you hear them enough, you're gonna stop taking risks. Let's take a little zoom in on color for a minute because this is really important and it's where sameness starts to really show. You've seen it, I've seen it, everybody painting their walls the exact same colors. Perfect grayish, the perfect off-white, or the olivey sage green. And here's the problem, right? They were chosen for someone else's home, their architecture, their climate, their lighting, because a soft grayish in a north-facing London flat with leaded windows is going to look completely different in a south-facing Phoenix apartment with giant windows and 0 trees. But online, it gets flattened into the bottom line of this color equals chic. This color equals builder beige. So everybody starts to slop on the same shade without testing it, and then wonders why their room suddenly feels off. Like, guys, you didn't even try anything. Designer homes look differently partly because they respect the context. They're thinking, okay, this room gets warm evening lighting, the floor is a red oak, the trim is cool white, and the outside street is very busy. That's a totally different color conversation than TikTok told me white dove is the best, so I guess white dove it is. Like, no. And you might be saying, Cooper, why are you talking so much smack about all of this and you're not even gonna tell us how to fix it? Don't jump to conclusions because I absolutely am. So, how do you actually stop your home from looking like everyone else's without burning it to the ground and getting rid of everything that you own? Step number one, cut off that content drip temporarily. I know, coming from a design creator, it's kind of scary. But if you're making big decisions because you're doom scrolling 15 different aesthetics a day, your brain is not making choices. It's taking polls. Pick a time window, 2 weeks, a month. During that time, you can screenshot inspiration, but only from real homes and books or movies in spaces that you've actually physically been to. I always find that this is really fun and really cool. If there's a restaurant that you really love, take a picture of it and, keep that inspiration for later. Something like that. No explore page, no aesthetic house tour. You're basically putting your taste in airplane mode so you can hear your own thoughts again. The next step is going to be to audit what you already own. And you want to do this emotionally, not just visually. Walk through your space and ask yourself, if I moved tomorrow and had to carry this object up 3 flights of stairs, would I be excited to do that? If the answer is no, that's usually a sign that that object isn't a part of your long-term style. It might just be a placeholder for adulting or I panicked at home goods. You know what I mean? The next step is going to be adding some functional weirdness. And I'm not talking about buying a neon sign that says good vibes only, okay? I'm talking about a vintage side table, not just another new one. A lamp with a strange shape. A rug with a pattern that you haven't seen on Instagram yet. It has to do a job. And it has to scare you a little bit when you click buy. That edge is where your style actually starts to show up. Next, you're going to want to bring in something that already makes sense for you. This could be a framed childhood drawing, a giant photograph of your hometown, or a weird porcelain cat that your grandma collected. Take this for example. If a stranger walked into your home and you weren't there and they weren't robbing you, they should be able to guess at least 3 things about your life. Right now, most people's homes only say, I own a couch and I love beige. And please, you guys, educate yourself on design principles. You want to learn at least one thing instead of just collecting different aesthetics and putting them together, because it's not that simple. 1 month, maybe focus on scale. Practice hanging your art at the right height, test larger lamps, maybe upsize your rug, and maybe after another month, you can focus on color or undertones or texture, whatever it might be. You can always come back to my channel for that stuff because I'm always talking about design, so I'm just saying. But the more fluently you speak the language of design, the less you have to copy full sentences off of Pinterest. I also want to give you guys a few permission slips because the internet has scared a lot of you guys into thinking that your home is going to explode if you break one rule. So please take these into account. It's okay if your home looks a little bit crazy or chaotic while you're still trying to figure it out. I mean, look at my background. Is it the most design forward thing you've ever seen? No. But when you're starting from scratch, things are expensive, and that's what I'm doing. So it takes time to build it up. Growing a style is messy. You're gonna make choices you're gonna regret, and that's okay. You also don't owe your landlord a magazine-ready white box. Of course, you're gonna patch the holes when you leave or paint whatever you need back to what it was. But you're allowed to paint in the first place or hang curtains that aren't the $9 ones that your building already has installed. So why does everybody's home look the same now? Because we're designing for algorithms, we're designing for landlords, for imaginary buyers, for vibes, and for class performance. For literally everybody except ourselves. But that's fixable. You don't have to torch your sofa or sell all your houseplants and move into a cottage in the woods. You just have to start making decisions from the inside out instead of the outside in. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions or concerns about your own space, just drop a comment below and I would love to help you. And if you're really struggling with your space, you can always hire me as your interior decorator. Don't hesitate to reach out no matter how big or small your space is. I would absolutely love to help you. For a little bit more information about that, you can visit my website and click the link down below to schedule a consultation. I hope you guys are having a great day, whatever day you're watching this, and I will see you every Thursday and Sunday, as usual, at 6 a.m. PST. I love you guys so much, and we'll see you soon. Bye!